Forced out of their jobs because of business closures caused by lockdowns, thousands of South Africans have resorted to squatting on vacant land.
Some of us, like me, I lost a job. Like after I lost a job, I never had a place to stay anymore.
Their efforts to defend these new but illegal homes from demolition have led to clashes with authorities in Cape Town. It's revealed the extent of the anxiety COVID-19 has caused in Africa's most industrialized nation.
I'm not doing this for something small. I'm doing this to build a family so that each one of us have our own privacy. But each one of us have our own dignity.
The economy contracted 51% in the second quarter compared to the previous 3 months, extending the country's longest recession in 28 years. But there are signs the government is succeeding in controlling the outbreak. New infections have fallen to 700 a day from a peak of 15,000. That's given officials the confidence to allow international flights to resume in October after a 6-month border closure.
This is subject to various containment and mitigation measures. Travel may be restricted to and from certain countries that have high infection rates.
President Cyril Ramaphosa is also set to unveil a long-term recovery plan to boost the economy. It reportedly includes infrastructure projects worth $140 billion over 10 years. South Africa will also sell telecommunications frequencies for the first time in 15 years and simplify rules for the mining sector. And it's extending a ban on civil servants doing business with the government in a bid to fight corruption. Ramaphosa says all this will only be possible if the country succeeds in limiting the spread of COVID-19.
A second wave would be devastating to our country and would again disrupt our lives and livelihoods.
The government's plan aims to address the rampant inequality that's plagued South Africa for decades and will hopefully help Cape Town squatters find homes they can call their own. Paolo Montecillo, TRT World.
Well, for more, let's go to Thea Fourie in Johannesburg. She's the team lead for Sub-Saharan Africa at IHS Markit. Welcome back to the program, Thea. Now, South Africa, as we know, had one of the earliest and strictest lockdowns in the world early on in the pandemic. But when those measures started to ease, we saw cases and even deaths skyrocket. It's now number 8 in terms of the worst affected countries in the world. Do you believe the country is ready to see coronavirus restrictions eased even further?
Good evening. Thank you for being invited. Indeed, I do think it's very necessary for the South African economy to once again open up. We've seen the significant impact that the lockdown measures had on economic activity. As you mentioned just now, a 51% annualized contraction during the second quarter, and therefore I do think very limited alternatives than to open up the economy further.
Now, among some of the changes are the easing of a curfew. So currently there's a curfew from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. And the president has announced shifting it a couple of hours, which would be a boon for the retail, restaurant and hospitality sectors. Alcohol will once again be able to be sold off-site. How badly has this sector been hit by these lockdowns?
It had a significant impact on the sector, definitely. Job losses, business closures, particularly for small and medium-sized enterprises. And of course, South Africa is also a very favorite tourism destination, particularly the Cape Town, KwaZulu-Natal, and of course, the lockdown measures and the restrictions of travel from foreigners has also had an impact on the entertainment industry. So particularly bad for small and medium-sized businesses, which did not have the financial backing to continue operating in lockdown measures and really starting up once again.
Now, as you say, GDP shrank an annualized 51% in the period through June from the previous quarter, putting the South African economy into its longest recession in 28 years. With these lockdown measures being eased even further, how will that help get South Africa out of its recession?
It will definitely help, but it is our view at IHS Markit that the rebound will probably be not as strong as what we hope for. And one of the key reasons for that is the structural constraints that the South African economy is still facing, of which consistent electricity supply is particularly worrying. And therefore, it's very encouraging that we have this initiative by the President being launched, and it definitely will help the rebound as well as the lockdown easing and the opening up of our borders. But I think one should remember that it's within these structural and infrastructural constraints.
Okay, Thea Fourie from IHS Markit. We'll have to leave it there, but thank you again for joining us on Money Talks.